Ford Model T rolled off the assembly lines beginning in 1908. So, and that
That
was
must be the Model T. Would that be a Model T?
could be. I'm not an expert on the.
It's an automobile.
Alrighty, we are back again. Thanks for joining us as we take a tour of postcards to the mail and how some of us got to Tampa. I am Leo Matthews, and I'm here with historians Miss Phyllis Green and Mr. Fred Prisley. On our last episode, we covered a lot. We covered the White House inside and out and how it used to look. We had a story about Dorothy and the chicken pot. And then also so much about transportation that I know we'll get back into. Actually, let's just start right there. Let's just start with transportation because I think it tells a big story on how we got, in this story from a place, Jessup, Georgia, all the way down to Tampa eventually. So we want to just start off with, I know we have a switch yard from Georgia. Do we want to just start off here?
Sure.
Oh,
Sure.
Yeah. If we had somewhere else. But this is the ACL yard, and then we do have.
Yeah. It's from Waycross, Georgia, on August 15th,
11, it looks like.
And it's from E.G. Suarez, and he says he's working there, but he ain't working too hard. So he's just checking in with Paul to let him know what he's doing at the warehouse. And where is it dated? It's addressed in Tampa. So they've already moved to Tampa by 1911. But it is Paul Sr. that it's separated.
And of course, we know that Paul was an agent for the railroad there in Jessup, Georgia. So he worked at the Jessup Railroad Station, presumably, and would have, known many of the railroad employees there. And the other thing that interesting that we were just talking about was the last episode we were talking about Kate's father, George, who was a prominent lawyer and alderman in Jessup, Georgia, and how he died in 1889, and he was killed accidentally in the switchyard at the Jessup, Georgia Railroad Depot, and so that happened in 1989, and then in 1891. Kate and Paul were married, so that raises the question: could her father's death have somehow brought Kate and Paul together over that accidental death in the railroad switchyard? And so that's one of the imagines that we had. It's possible, but we don't know.
As we know, these postcards are extremely rare, and the pictures that we have on them, the way that we see them evolve throughout these videos, and the same thing with the records of these people. People have done the research to figure out where they come from, where they're passed, where they've been buried. So there's some stuff that we just don't have the information to. And we'll try to be as transparent with those facts that we do and don't know throughout this process. Yeah. Did you want to go to this one next?
This one I wanted to show because this is the North Avenue, and it's called the Grand Prix Automobile Course in Savannah, Georgia. And you will notice there is only one car on the racetrack. It was from Grandma to Paul. And it's from 1910, May 7th, 1910.
This is the Grand Prix.
We're going to go.
Very grand. And then some that we like to call out is like you notice that some of them you're allowed to write the address on the back. Some of them you're supposed to have the line in the middle, to where maybe you can write a note as well. We're seeing the stamps on all of these, which is cool. Some of them are beat, eaten, and battered, but
And missing.
yeah, missing, yeah, yeah,
They don't always come out.
yeah.
They've been through a lot.
We were talking about that car, and I was just checking our notes here that that picture was in 1910 or 11.
11, yep.
Well, and the Ford Model T rolled off the assembly lines beginning in 1908. So, and that
That
was.
must be the Model T. Would that be a Model T?
Could be. I'm not an expert on the.
It's an
engine
automobile.
Yeah.
but
The Ford Model T was supposed to be like the premium one at this time. Well, most efficient in the factory as well as on the road, right?
yeah, and the most affordable for a family.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, but the what went along with that was as soon as they built a new machine, of course. The guys want to figure out how to race them against you. I mean, you're talking about cars that topped out at about 35 miles an hour, but back then that was what, about 3 times as fast as a horse can trot.
Yeah.
So definitely a big influence on the times.
It was, and we talked about this is when Dixie Highway had just got started, and then Model Ts, people were on the road traveling all the way up through Montreal.
Right.
So, and then on to Chicago. So that's important
Yeah.
to go along. And we have the another town we'll tell y'all about. The tin canners who use the Model Ts to travel up and down.
Through these postcards, Miss Green has a bunch of stories. A bunch of stories.
And most of them are true.
You learn a lot of history through these
Oh,
stories. It's cool. Do we want to talk a little bit more about Kate, like who Kate was? Because the last episode we talked about how Gainesville is where her
Son.
her surviving son was born. Is there anything else that we know like about Kate that's important?
Well, with her being the music teacher, after we've got some cards from her students, and a lot of our cards are holiday cards, and this one's a Christmas song, and it was in 1910, and it was from Esther Joy Jenkins from Washington, D.C., and she's thanking Kate for taking care of her brother, Charles, there. And then another one of her students was up in High Springs, and he got his picture took on a postcard. And it says on the back, Mrs. Wood from Hagen Tucker, taken just after getting up one morning and had not taken hair or bath. So, but Mr. Tucker was obviously one of her students up in High Springs, and he's got a shiny new trumpet and his dog beside him. So he is ready to.
And we don't know how long she was in High Springs, correct? We don't know that, or do
Well,
we do?
we do
Yeah.
to a point. We assume that the family was in High Springs by that time in 1894, because Kate lost her first child in 1892 at birth, and we don't believe that High Springs had a full-time physician. So what probably happened is that she chose to go down to Gainesville, which was the largest town in the area. High Springs, although High Springs was a major hub of Henry B. Plant's railroad in Florida at the time, it was kind of out in the boondocks. And so it seems to me more likely that Kate would have chosen to go to Gainesville to have
After she had
her
the-
second child, to make sure that she didn't have any problems. And of course, we know that worked out fine because Paul Jr. Was born in 1894 and lived a long and we hope happy life.
Yeah.
So
Unfortunately, your next three didn't work out so well.
no, and you know, that's
she-
such a tragic story for Kate because after losing her father at a relatively young age, she lost 4 out of 5 of her children,
No, it's
and
just so
the others were born between 96 and 98, and they only lived between 8, 10, 11 months. So we know that the infant mortality rate in the country at that time was really high. I mean, we're talking in some areas, especially in rural areas, often in the South or out on the frontier, their infant mortality rates running as high as 25%. So on the average, 1 out of every 4 babies is lost in infancy due to something, whether disease or, injury or we don't know. But, and that was just part of the times they lived in, which doesn't make it any less tragic for the people who had to experience that.
Yeah.
And part of the women's clubs, their main thing was now to get clean milk and to take care of the mothers and to bring more help to the women. So I think it's important that they.
Exactly. And that would take us back to Kate's mother, Isabella. And, we know by that time she was already heavily involved in women's clubs, both up in Georgia and Florida, and with the National Federation of Women's Clubs. And we know she was active, and Kate would become active as well. So as we'll see in some of the stories.
Extremely active.